This video was made possible through the help of generous donations from viewers like you. Thank you. Dynamics, or volume, is one of the most important, most ignored, and misunderstood parts of music. In this video, I will break down the 5 different types of dynamics: notated, ambient, registral, timbral, and textural. Before we begin, I want to mention that there is no such thing as an absolute dynamic level. Dynamics are always relative. Notated dynamics are the most common. It's generally indicated on sheet music with the symbol P, which means piano or soft, or an F, which means forte or loud. There are instances where you'll see multiple P's or multiple F's together. This is an indication to the singer that they have to sing either very, very soft or very, very loud. A great example of this would be Libera Me from Verdi's Requiem. As you can see, this line is marked with double and triple P's to tell the singer that they need to sing as softly as possible. And in this line, the line is marked with the double F's to tell the singer that she has to sing very loud to project over a full orchestra and chorus. Notated dynamics are commonly found in classical music, but the next dynamic is very common in non-classical and contemporary music genres.
I believe in yesterday. I believe.
Ambience is being aware of the environment or the surroundings of something that is taking place, or as young people will say, reading the room. So ambient dynamics is the volume created by an unspoken consensus. So an example of this would be when Whitney Houston is asked to sing a cappella in the middle of an interview.
Yes, I remember. The first song I sang in church was a song called Guide Me, Oh, Thou.
She starts singing at the same volume at which they were having the conversation.
The first song you ever sang in church?
Yes, I remember. The first song I sang in church was a song called Guide Me, Oh, Thou.
Without being told, she is aware that there are only 3 of them up there having a quiet chat and that she doesn't need to sing at full vocal power. But minutes later, when the environment around her changes and she has a full band and background singers, she has to sing louder to match the new environment. You'll also see ambient dynamics in group settings. In this example, you'll see that the first set of singers begin at this volume, and the remaining singers join in at the same volume to create a perfect blend. Now, let's take a look at what happens when somebody doesn't follow the dynamics of their environment.
Why don't you say that amen one more time for us right here?
In this example, Beyonce starts singing at this volume.
Amen. Amen.
So she establishes the ambience or the ambiance of this dynamic. And this volume that she started is the volume that the other girl should follow. Michelle soon joins in and is singing at a similar volume.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
When Kelly comes in, she is a lot louder than the other two.
Amen.
So, in this situation, a new ambient dynamic has been created. And remember, an ambient dynamic is always unspoken. So without being told and just being aware of their environment, Beyonce and Michelle pick up on the change, and you'll see that they are now singing to match Kelly's volume. Registral dynamics is pretty simple to understand. Most voices or instruments have a spot in their range where they are naturally louder or naturally softer. So in this diagram, you'll see that the power output in registers varies upon voice type. Seeing this in practice, here's soprano Jessie Norman singing a low D below middle C. And here we have a contralto singing the same note. Notice that the contralto's note is bigger and louder. Why? Because she's a lower voice, and if you look at the graph, the lower range is where her voice has full power. On the flip side of that, if a contralto such as Ewa Poros sings a soprano high B, it won't be as powerful or as loud as a soprano singing the same note. And the reason this is because if you look back at the diagram, you'll see that a soprano has full vocal power in this register, whereas a contralto does not. Timbral dynamics is the volume a voice or an instrument projects by the sheer virtue of the sound wave of the shape created. For example, a saxophone and a tuba are both brass instruments, but the tuba is louder. Due to its size and design. When talking about voices, this refers to the genetic makeup of a singer's voice. In classical music, you'll have the categories such as a lyric voice and a dramatic voice. For example, here's a lyric tenor singing this phrase. Now we'll have a dramatic tenor singing this phrase. Both of these men are tenors, but the dramatic tenor's vocal cords are slightly longer and thicker. They're designed differently, which allows him to produce more power and volume naturally. An R&B example of this will be comparing two sopranos such as Denise Williams and Shirley Brown. They're singing the same note at full volume. But the reason why Shirley's note is louder is because of the physical genetic makeup of her instrument. A gospel example of this will be Daryl Coley and Rance Allen, two of gospel's greatest tenors. Here's Daryl Coley singing a D flat. And here's Rance Allen singing the same note. The difference is the shape and the makeup of their vocal tracks and vocal cords. And while we're on the topic of gospel music, gospel is a great example of understanding our last dynamic, textural dynamics. A textural dynamic is created by the number of performers in an ensemble. So a mass choir is going to be able to express a wider range of dynamics than, say, a gospel quartet. So to wrap things up, dynamics are relative, and they are often created beyond the means of piano and forte. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. Until next time.